That plane was rocking and rolling, so much turbulence up and down. I had this poor young girl clutching in my arms. She's afraid the plane's gonna go down. I look at her and I say, hey, this plane ain't going down. I'm under federal indictment, and believe me, they're gonna put me on trial. They're gonna get their pound of flesh out of me. Hey everybody, welcome to another sit down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well, and guess what? December, we're into the holiday season. Christmas is coming up soon. We're all dealing with a different kind of Christmas, lockdowns all over the country. COVID is having its effects still. And we're figuring out, what are we gonna do? We're gonna get together with family. Can we get together with family? Are we gonna have a Merry Christmas? What's really going on? It's always a time of the year for me to reflect on things. And over the past couple of days, I've been looking at a lot of the comments that I've been receiving from all of you on YouTube. And people, YouTube is fairly new to me. I think somebody started a channel for me about 7 years ago. I didn't even know I had it. I think there was one video posted on there. I don't even know who posted it. But I really started posting videos in July of this year. And we're growing pretty good, and that's, thanks to all of you liking the content. I really appreciate it. But I do read the comments, and please don't get upset that I can't answer them. We get hundreds, sometimes thousands per video. But I like to see where you're coming from so that I kind of, answer what I can. A lot of you want to hear just the mob stories. Many of you, though, lately are asking to just really know more about me. And, I've been out there over the years, last 25 years. I've been speaking all over the country. I got documentaries out there. I've been doing, writing books. I got more coming up. We got a lot of stuff going on. So a lot of people do know me, but many of you don't, and I see that. And so when I read the comments, I kind of get a feel of what you really want to hear from me, because I got so much to say. I really do. And, I got a TV series coming up, another book. We got a lot of stuff happening, but I want to be able to really relate to you, my viewers. And, again, time of reflection, December for me, it always is. We get together with family. It's the end of the year. I'm a person of faith. We really start to think of things. We get in deep. We have Christmas services, although this year we won't be having them. But, just a lot comes into your mind. And, I got a lot to be thankful for. But I was reading some of the comments today, and a lot of people are asking, Michael, tell me some funny things about that life. Just some instances that you might have had. And so off the top of my head, I can think of a couple just popped into my head. So I'm going to relate them to you. I'll never forget, it was 1984. And I was on a flight from Los Angeles to New York. I was leaving, LA, my wife at that time, and coming back to New York because I was on trial. And we had a real bad flight. Now, I don't know if you know this, but if those of you that flew way back when, the planes didn't take turbulence as well as they take them today. When you had turbulence, man, it got scary. It really did. I'm sitting in first class. I think it was an American flight, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sitting next to a young girl. The girl, she was a young girl. She was sitting next to me, and she said, sir, I'm so nervous. Do you mind if I grab or hold your arm? I said, yeah, no problem. Don't worry about it. And she's nervous and she's shaking, and, I'm trying to calm her down a little bit. And finally, I look at her and I say, look, I want to make you feel better. I said, this plane is not going down. And she looked at me and said, are you sure of that? I said, yes, and let me tell you why. I'm under federal indictment. I'm going back to stand trial in Manhattan federal court. Rudy Giuliani is the prosecutor, and they're going to get their pound of flesh off of me. So don't worry about this plane. The government always gets what they want in a case like that. This plane is not going down. And she kind of looked at me like, who am I sitting next to? I don't know if she got more afraid of me or the flight, but I think it did the trick, because she kind of calmed down after that. And then she was asking me all kind of questions. What's the problem? I said, well, don't ask too much. I said, but as long as you're okay now. And I'll never forget that. I don't know what my name, I don't remember what she looks like, but it was a funny incident. Another time, Frankie G, told you about him. All he ever wanted to be was a gangster. I named him Frankie Gangster, colorful guy. He and I were very close. He was a good crew member of mine. And we both had boats. We loved boating. We had boats in Long Island, and we had boats down in Florida. And so one day, it was a beautiful day out in Long Island. We were in the Long Island Sound, and we're driving our boats, and I got one or two people in mine. He's got one or two people, I think his girlfriend and his. And, you know, all of a sudden we start to compete a little bit. We start to, you know, push the throttle. We're starting to race, right? And I don't know if you know that area there, but, you know, there's some places where if you go outside of the buoy, you can be in 1 foot of water just like that. So we're racing, and I'm a little bit ahead of him. I'll never forget. And he starts going inside the buoy. And I'm looking and I'm going, gee, come on back here. Come on back, because I knew it gets really shallow. So we're racing and racing, and people, I got to tell you, all of a sudden, you had to see it. The boat's going like this fast. All of a sudden, boom, it just stops. I mean, stops. Frankie, who was driving, goes through the windshield, tumbles over the front of the bow of the boat, and boom, in the water. I'm saying he must be dead. That's it, right? So I circle around. He doesn't come out of the water. I circle around. He's down there. I was with Louis Fenz at that time. I said, Louis, he's got to be dead. He must drown. He's not coming up. His girlfriend was in there. She had almost went through the windshield. It was a mess. Finally, we pull up, and I'll never forget. It was like in a movie. He comes out of the water. He's bleeding like crazy. His hands up like that. And me and Louis look at him, and we started laughing hysterical. I mean, you got to laugh at Frankie. No matter how serious it is, you had to laugh just to see the sight. And man, it was, he recovered, obviously, you know, and I said, what the heck are you doing? You know these waters. How could you go inside the buoy like that? Well, I wanted to win. I was racing, you know. I said, who knows? Anyway, that's typical Frankie G. I got a lot of his stories, but he was classic. Nobody like him, trust me. Zimmerman was about the closest to Frankie because they were both characters. They really were. You know, other time I had a jet plane, and, you know, I met my wife on a movie set, right? And so she's young, and I'm trying to impress her. It was early days that I was taking her out. She always used to refuse me. Whenever I asked her to go out, you know, when I first met her on the set, she would say yes and never show up. She kept standing me up, right? So finally, you know, I was determined, and, you know, she started to like me a little bit. So one night I tell her, after we wrapped, you know, that night, I said, listen, want to go for some good Italian food? And she said, yeah, I like Italian food. You know, she's Mexican, but everybody likes Italian food. I said, good, let's go. And so I drive her to the airport where my Lear 25 was. And she looks around. She said, where's the restaurant? I said, don't worry about it. Come on. Get her out of the car. We go into the plane. She said, what are you doing? I said, we're going to New York. It's a place called Il Cortile. It's downtown Little Italy. You're going to love it. She had never been on a private jet like that. She got a little bit nervous. She said, I got to, you know, get back on the set in the morning. I said, don't worry about it. I'll have you back, you know, by 2 o'clock in the morning. You'll be back. You'll get some sleep. You'll be on the set early in the morning. And we went on the plane. You know, we flew into New York, 2.5-hour flight maximum. And we ate at the Italian restaurant. It was the first time she ever seen a sight like that. Got back in the plane, got back, and, you know, got her to the set on time. I'll tell you what, it makes an impression. So yes, I had a couple of those little perks with me at that point in time. Wasn't too bad way back when. Another time, you know, I'm on trial in the Giuliani case in Manhattan. I lived out in Long Island at that point in time, but I had a helicopter. Greatest tool in the world, trust me. When you got to go into the city every day, rather than face that traffic, it used to take me 16 minutes to get into the city, right? We'll get on a helicopter, boom. Every day I'm traveling in. And 16 minutes, get into the courtroom, on the end of the day, get back on my helicopter, I'm home in 16, 17 minutes. So a couple of the FBI agents used to live out on Long Island. And I used to tease them every day. I said, guys, come on, bumper to bumper traffic, you know, come on in a helicopter. Let's talk about the case. You come back with me. Oh, Michael, we can't do that. I said, come on, you know, what are you going to do? What do you got to drive in that traffic for? The LIE right now, it'll take you 3 hours to get home. I'll have you home in 16 minutes. And I used to tease them like crazy. You know, they weren't bad guys, you know, in that case. I got to be honest with you. You know, we never really had it in for the agents. All we ever told them at that time, look, we understand. You got your job to do, and we do our job. Just don't frame us. You don't frame us, we have no problem. If you catch us the right way, hey, we're caught. That's it. Just don't frame us. And so at times we got along with them. You know, it wasn't that we were cussing each other out all the time. I mean, some of us really didn't like us, but others were pretty good. I remember one agent, Bernie Welsh, I'll never forget him. He was the biggest clown you ever seen. And there was a time where a couple of guys had gotten killed, way back when. And I was in a bar with a couple of guys. And I'll never forget, Big Bernie, he was about 6'3". He comes in and he's got boots up to his knees and he's got a shovel, right? And he comes in and he says, hey guys, he stamps his feet and he says, man, we've been digging for those bodies. Anybody want to give us any information? Want to give us a tip? Help us out a little bit? And he would be a clown like that. He'd come over to the bar. Hey, come on, let's have a drink. Come on, Mike, talk to us. Let us know what's going on. And we used to look at him like he was crazy, but he was one of the guys. But he would say to me, he says, Michael, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get this other guy, Joey Brancata, who was a close guy to my father, another made guy. But I'll never frame you. I'm going to get you honest. I'll never frame you. And you know what? He never did. He really didn't. He did his job and, he didn't frame anybody. So you don't get mad at that. So, listen, I can go on. I got so many stories and things that happen when I think about it. And, it goes into my mind. I can be here all night with you. But again, I tell you this on YouTube. Trust me, we see the analytics, 12, 13, 14 minutes is a lot. 10 minutes is about the average. But, and somebody asked me, earlier today, Michael, do you have any regrets? And yeah, you know what? Of course I do. People said, Michael, if you had to do all over again, would you get back into that life? And quite honestly, the answer is probably yes, because the reason I got into the life at that point in time was to help my dad. I didn't aspire to be a mob guy. This is not what I wanted to be all my life. If you would have said to me, Mike, what did you want to do? I tell you, I wanted to play center field for the New York Yankees. I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a mob guy, but circumstances brought me in there because I love my dad and I wanted to help him out. And this was the best route according to him. So that's why I got involved. So I can't really say I regret getting involved in the life because I think I did it for the right reasons. However, I have regrets for things that I did when I was part of that life, of course. One of the regrets I think, mainly was that the relationship with my dad was a little bit strained at the end. Look, he wasn't happy when I walked away. There was no question about it. And, for 10 years, we didn't even talk until we kind of patched things up when he realized I wasn't looking to hurt anybody. I just really wanted out of the life. And so we patched things up. It was never really the same because, look, people, I love my dad no matter what, but there was a betrayal in a way there. He did betray me in a way, and that hurt to a point where I don't know if I trusted him that much because contract on my life, can I trust my own dad? That's a hard thing to think about. But in the end, we patched it up and we were close again, but it was never the same. It was never the same. I know he loved me and I loved him, but circumstances didn't allow me to be in touch with him as much as I'd like to. And a lot of people don't understand that. They want to get on there and say different things. My dad and I knew what was going on between us, and my conscience is fairly clear about that. And I'm sure his was too. And, he passed away earlier this year at the age of 103. And I regret the last 50 years that my dad had to live, because you wouldn't want to live that life. He had it tough. 40 years in prison, lost almost everybody that was close to him. Tough, but that's the consequences of that lifestyle period, people. I get it. Also have a little bit of regret. My family broke apart, not me, my wife and kids, but, brothers and sisters, my mom, we had a rocky relationship for a while, patched it up in the end before she passed away in 2012. Always loved my mom the same, but that life is so devastating to family life, people. It really is. No matter what anybody tells you, it's devastating. Regrets like that. And, I got to tell you, look, I've been up and down in my life. I've been through so many things. What comes to mind to me, that song by Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, when he said, that's life. He said, I've been up and down and over and out. Each time I find myself flat on my face, pick myself up and get back in the race. And that's kind of been the story of my life. But, I'll leave you with one last thing. I did a podcast earlier today, and a gentleman asked me in closing, he said, Michael, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave for people in life? And he said, you've done so many things. You had successes, you had failures, you've been to prison, you got a family, you made a ton of money, you kind of transformed your life around. What do you want your legacy to be? And it didn't take me long to think about it. I said, you know what? I want to be known as a good husband, a good father to my kids, and somebody that was true and faithful to God, because that's the transformation that I made in my life. And, you know, there's nothing else that really matters. You know, the money I made doesn't matter. I'm not taking it with me. You know, hopefully I can leave my family in shape when I go, but that's my legacy. You know, I've been extremely blessed to have been able to transform my life. And I want to tell all of you out there that are struggling, because I get a lot of your comments, you know, and I feel for you. I really do. Even though I can't help you and get to you, I feel for you. I mean it, because I've been there, I've done that, and I've seen many have been in the same circumstance. It's never too late to turn your life around. It really isn't. It's not about what happened yesterday. It's about what happens from today and going forward into the future. Look, at one point in time, I might have been considered the worst guy in the room. Really. I mean, when I was in that life, people, I was a knowing and willing criminal. Nobody pushed me into that life. When I was doing the wrong thing, I was conscious of it. I knew it. I did it anyway. Even though I didn't feel good about it, I still did it. But I've been able to transform my life around. Yes, for me, it's a faith thing. And people, when people talk about their faith, you know, it's not nice to be demeaning about it. Because we don't share the same beliefs, that doesn't mean you be demeaning. I'm not demeaning to atheists. I'm not demeaning to Buddhists or Muslims. That's their faith. That's what they believe. I don't disagree. I don't agree with them, rather. I have a different, you know, faith that I abide by, and I think it is the one true faith. But I don't knock anybody for what they believe, unless they're a Satanist. Then I got something to tell you, because that's an evil thing. But other than that, you know, you have a right to feel or believe the way you feel in life. But don't ever feel it's too late for you to make a change. And this is the perfect season to do that. I mean that. You got an axe to bury, bury it. You got somebody that you're upset with, that you've been holding a grudge about, get rid of it. It's such a burden lifted off your shoulders when you get rid of a bad feeling about somebody. Trust me on that. I've been there in my life, and when I released it, I never felt better. Never felt better. So I'm going to leave you with that. I want you to get into the holiday season. Yes, we're going to be producing more content. We got a lot of stuff going on. I want to thank you all. I mean it. This is the season to be thankful. I want to thank you all. You know, those of you that are subscribing, those of you that are viewing me, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really do. We can't do this without you. If nobody listened, we have nothing to say. But you've been grateful and supporting, and we're growing, you know, at least 1,000 a day in our subscriptions, so we appreciate that. If you want some coaching, you know where to go, michaelfranzese.com. So that's it for today. We'll be back soon. A Mob Story Monday is coming up, and a Mob Movie Monday is coming up. So look forward to that. And you know how I always leave you. Be safe, be healthy, God bless. See you next time.